Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I am your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I'm your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot. And somewhere out there is our Cobra intern.
And I'm your Cobra intern, codename Cutie Face, and I like to get on Audible Interlude and say crazy things. Word up. So we do have a little lost lamb tonight. Kristian got held up at work. He's going to join us as soon as he can join us, and we will do our best to keep things light and fun and weird in his name until then. But we do expect him before the show is over, unless we've got as little to talk about as it seems.
Not a big news
No.
month for G.I. Joe.
Joe news has all but dried up. Let me fix my screens here because I got sucked into a Fisher-Price Adventure People rabbit hole right before we went on the air. And I can tell you right now what I'm going to be looking for at Joe Fest at the end of September. Which, as far as I know, we will still have a presence there. Okay, there we go.
I will have a presence there, if nothing else.
Well, you will regardless.
With my booth at the finest.
I hope you still have some of the business cards I gave you I'm sorry, Joe Lanta. I said Joe Fest, didn't I? Joe
Yes.
Lanta at the end of September. You remember it because it's like my Lanta, but Joe Lanta.
Right.
Oh, wait, no, it's Atlanta. I finally get it now. Atlanta. I always wondered what's the deal with the stomach drug thing. But anyway, follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Click the follow button, leave us a review, share our stuff, whether it's our live streams on YouTube, whether it's something we post on Instagram, the actual audio episodes of the podcast. Share stuff. It is the best way to spread the word and let people know about Audible Interlude and about Needless Things, which you're currently watching the Needless Things YouTube channel. And I got to tell you guys, a little over a month from now, I got no job. So a little bump in Needless Things Audible Interlude action would be very helpful for your old pal Phantom. This week on the channel,
it's going to be a full-time influencer.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Those pennies will just start rolling in. This week on the channel, Monkey Wrench, Major Blood, some Healy-made figures, and a Bentha. So tune in, give us some likes on the channel. We have shirts available. Speaking of things that really don't generate revenue, we've got a lot of merch at TeePublic while you're at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram, which is the best place to keep up with us. T-shirts, hats, shorts. Oh, I got a pair of I got a Needless Things pair of shorts because I wanted to do a test run of how the shorts are. The shorts are pretty good. Wait for a sale, but the shorts are pretty good. I wish the logo was bigger and placed differently, and I don't quite understand why it's as high and small as it is, but it's a pretty good pair of shorts, and you can see it's good printing, like it looks good. But I sent TeePublic an email with some feedback about how I feel like their printing could be a little bit better on the shorts. But quality-wise, it's good. It's just placement and size, not very impressive. And no, they're not really shorts. Oh, gosh, I guess I've got to handle the chat now.
Oh.
Rexship85 says, who wears short shorts? Dave wears short shorts. Dave does not wear short shorts. That is only in your dreams, Rexship. But they're above the knee shorts. They're reasonable shorts. Toy Reclaimer in the chat. Michael Gene Fleming is here. Starfighter is here. And later on, Sound Off is here. And we did get a lot of good feedback from Sound Off. And if you don't know, that is our post that goes up every time we're doing a live stream at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. There's a Sound Off post where we ask the Audible Army for feedback about what to talk about on the show. We got a lot of good stuff for this one, so that'll more than make up for the lack of G.I. Joe news. Although we do have G.I. Joe adjacent news. And speaking of G.I. Joe adjacent, Noel, I know you'll be thrilled. We will be doing Joe and Tell tonight, and I will be stretching the definition of G.I. Joe adjacent with my Joe and Tell.
Okay. We've said Joe and Tell does not even have to be G.I. Joe adjacent. You know, you can stretch it a little bit.
I appreciate that. Carlos is here. Tom Henry is here. The Tom.Henry golf. I don't know. I'm not even sure what a golf short is. They're like almost basketball short cut, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of there are a lot of shorts like this out on the market. I guess I should have brought them down with me. Maybe I'll leave Noel alone and I'll run upstairs and grab the shorts and leave
How
Noel.
terrifying is that?
It'd be like what is it is it UHF where somebody gets left like on camera with nothing else going on?
Yeah.
And they just have like a nervous breakdown. Not that Noel would have that problem. But Tom Henry, if you believe in yourself, you can wear anything you want to a formal dinner. All right.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're anything like me and you work remotely many days of the week, and
that's right,
you have meetings or even interviews sometimes where you're wearing like a tie and a jacket and then basketball shorts down below because they can only see me from here up.
So we can finally officially announce our Pyramid of Darkness 40th anniversary live stream. We talked about this at Dragon Con. I guess technically we announced it on this past Friday's episode since the audio from Dragon Con is up now. We were live at Dragon Con, and you can catch that episode wherever you get your podcasts. But we determined prior to, because we were going to do a Pyramid of Darkness themed panel, and we decided, one, that's not really something that's great in front of a live audience, and two, it's 5 episodes. It's a full mini series. It's too much to cover in the 50 minutes that you get for a panel at a convention. So instead, we kind of touched on some Pyramid of Darkness things, but we will be doing full reviews of the entire Pyramid of Darkness miniseries starting on September. Oh, Noel, what did we say? Why didn't I put the date on here?
18th is what
I think it's the 18th,
yes.
right? It's a Thursday.
Yes.
So September the 18th, we will be, and be sure and follow up or potentially join the Audible Army Facebook group, which I'm going to put a link in the chat right now if you would like to join. And if you cannot click on that link, then you can send a message to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram, include your email, and we will, why does it take so many steps? Include your email address and we will send you an invitation so you can join the Audible Army Facebook group. But right now I'm putting a link in the chat. That is the best way to keep up. But yeah, September 18th, it will be the 40th anniversary of the broadcast of the first episode of Pyramid of Darkness, and we're going to do something that we have not done before. We are going to do a live stream review of that first episode to kick off our series of reviews of the entire Pyramid of Darkness. The audio of episode 2 will be available the next week, and then we'll go back to our alternating weeks to wrap up all 5 episodes, as we tend to do when we're doing reviews like this.
And we're going to do this one in order, unlike the way we did.
Yeah.
Was it the
Revenge of Cobra? I think that we did. Like we were just going to do episode 2, and then we're like, what are we doing? Why don't we just do the whole thing?
Yeah.
All right, so that is happening. I have a very special interview this week that I am not announcing yet because I don't announce interviews until they're recorded because you never know what's going to happen. But that will be, while it's sort of part of the Needless Things Creators series, it is very much an Audible Interlude interview. So that will be posted in the Audible Interlude feed. Wherever you get your podcasts, you'll be able to check it out. And depending on how it goes, it may be available on the Needless Things YouTube channel as well. And then our next regular live stream will be September the 29th. So put it on your calendar, Needless Things YouTube channel, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, our next Audible Interlude live stream after the Pyramid of Darkness live stream. As I said, the Facebook group is live now. You can send us a message at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. or just click that link if you're in the chat right now. So we've got a couple of things to talk about before we get into the news. Noel, did you get your monkey ranch?
No, I haven't
Oh,
gotten
that's kind of a
anything.
shame.
I haven't gotten Monkey Wrench. I haven't gotten Cobra Commander. Like, Pulse has
Oh,
not sent
wow.
any of that stuff.
So I do have Monkey Ranch, and I got to tell you, it is excellent. He's not my favorite Dreadnought. I was buying the figure just to get the figure, not because I was particularly excited. But this is a top tier classified figure. I'm thrilled with him. Full review goes up right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel on Tuesday. But they did a great job with this one. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, that's one that I'm excited about getting. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with my Pulse orders because I haven't gotten Law and Order yet. I haven't gotten.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Michael Gene Fleming, who I believe is Millennial Joe fan, correct me if I'm wrong, on Instagram. Hey, I see there's a files upload tab on the Facebook group. Would you like me to put a PDF up of the classified icon guide I gave you at Joe Fest? Absolutely. And anybody who has any kind of materials like that related to Joe, feel free to upload them in the Facebook group. We would love to have a resource for that stuff that we can all share. But yeah, Michael, 100%. Please do upload those. That guide is awesome. And what it is for anybody that's listening or watching, it is a guide to all the icons on the packaging of the classified series, all the specialties and everything. It's really fantastic. Okay. Also, the new version of Major Blood. And this is one, again, that I kind of ordered just to get it. I got to tell you, it's still not the Major Blood I want, but it is such an upgrade over the original. The original next to this one looks like an unfinished figure. I
And
cannot
I really like that
believe
original Major Blood figure.
I did before. This one has lots of new parts. It is pinless. The arm, it is the same arm, but now it is pinless. Different legs. This arm is new. The paint, like I said, putting the Cobra Island blood next to this blood, the Cobra Island one looks like an unfinished figure. It is wild the difference between these two. So this definite upgrade. If you want to wait for a different blood, then that's understandable. But don't sleep on this one thinking it's not different enough from the other one because it is a huge improvement.
Yeah, I'd like to see like a retro card one in more of like the Sunbow-y colors.
I would like to see one just completely retooled because this blood can't be made into a proper retro blood. It really can't. It just doesn't have the right look. It would need a lot of work. So I think they just tool up a new blood at some point, and that'll be a solid one. But this is the best classified blood, in my opinion. And that review goes up tomorrow, right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. No, you got any other follow up? Anything else going on? It hasn't been much lately.
No, I'm just it popped up into Pulse just to look at all my orders because I was just thinking I haven't gotten those yet, and yeah, my Law and Order is still showing in progress. I still have orders from last October. I have one that's about to hit 1 year that still hasn't been fulfilled because Dial
Whoa,
Tone.
what is it?
Dial Tone
Dial
still hasn't
Tone.
arrived.
Whoa, you don't have Dial Tone yet?
No, my Retro Vipers are still in progress.
Wow. Well, Pulse is always last.
Yeah.
But they seem like last.
That was October 22nd.
Wow.
I did get Rock and Roll, but I have not gotten the Retro Vipers that I ordered at the same time. So yeah, like I like the safety of Pulse and just keeping everything together and not have to worry about keeping track of everything everywhere else. But man, if they're going to fulfill things this late, I might have to just start, playing the roulette game.
I mean, as long as you keep a spreadsheet, it's
Yeah.
really not that difficult. Tom Henry asks, can I upload 14,120 pictures of myself photoshopped into Fangs? Tom Henry, you do whatever makes you happy. And Josh Nicholson says, according to the Pulse app, V4 Snake Eyes will charge tonight and Monkey Wrench will charge on the 15th. So those are all right around the corner for anybody who does not have them yet or was waiting for Pulse. And with that, we do have some news. First thing we've got is an update from Skeletron, which is very exciting. First of all, look at that. Oh, I cannot wait to get that 6-inch Skeletron figure. Their next fulfillment wave is creeping towards the finish line at the factory. They'll be sending out the final call to update addresses in the near future, but please don't hesitate to email them any changes. The upcoming wave will be shipping the Robo-Knight heavy metal armor accessory with bonus 4-inch Robonaut kit, and that's the faceplate, if you don't recall. The 6-inch pilot character kit with bonus 6-inch Robonaut kit, the 6-inch Wolf Trooper, the 6-inch Gyre Wolf, and the 6-inch Jungle Wolf Trooper. So that is all of that will be shipping soonish. Everything has come together beautifully, and the long wait for these 6-inch figures is nearly over. Thanks so much for your exceptional patience as we enter the tail end of this massively large and extended duration Kickstarter. Once this wave ships, the 4-inch Skeletron, 6-inch Skeletron, and total RoboSkull hardcover will still remain. They've been in regular contact with the factory and are pushing on all fronts. They've seen solid progress with the 6-inch Skeletron, and that's a recent factory paint sample without printed Tampo deco that is being further tweaked at the factory for final approval. But I mean, this is a gorgeous figure, and I cannot wait to see the final product and, eventually get it in hand. Oh, yeah, good point. Carlos is with us and says, I got the Law & Order in the wild from a local Walmart. And yes, I have seen Law & Order at Walmart's on the new display stand.
I actually was just at Walmart like 2 hours ago. Cruz just did the lap around the store, popped onto the toy aisle, not a single G.I. Joe toy there. And
Did they have the new display thing?
Did not find the new display. So,
oh, wow. Which one?
One over in like my neck of the woods on Memorial Drive.
Okay. Let's see. We also have the Skeletron NASCAR car, which is wild. I believe this was last week. This was in Darlington. I don't know anything about NASCAR, but that's wild. The Skeletron logo on a NASCAR.
I mean, it's usually like very, very large brands that are sponsoring NASCAR. It ain't cheap to do that.
So that's pretty awesome. Now we've got a call sign longbow update, but first, Wreck Ship's got a little something for Noel. Noel, if you're still waiting on the Retro Viper from Pulse, they're in stock supposedly on the site. Maybe you just need to reorder and cancel the old order. Wow, that is pathetic. Well, You know what? Let me take an aside real quick, and I'll tell you a Pulse story. Because, I mean, anything on Pulse is pretty relevant to what we do here. So I had pre-ordered the new Star Wars Vintage Collection Bantha because I've never owned a Bantha, because I've never quite liked the look of any of the ones Hasbro's put out. They did a Power of the Force one that was a little too fluffy. I believe they've done a Vintage Collection one before that still just didn't quite look right. But they put up a pre-order a couple of months ago for a newer Vintage Collection version that finally looked like I think of Bantha should look in that scale. Did the pre-order. And I think I told you guys last, you guys as in Noel and Kristian, because I'm sure Kristian is listening, even if he's not with us at the moment, I guess. I don't know. So I got charged for the Bantha. I mean, I knew it was the Bantha, even though the only way I knew I got charged was because PayPal sent me the notification. Pulse certainly didn't notify me of anything. So I got charged, and then it went a couple of days, and I didn't get any shipping notices. I didn't get anything from Pulse. So I sent their customer service a message saying, hey, I got charged for this amount of money. What is it? And they came back with, this is the Star Wars Vintage Collection Bantha. Okay. And I messaged back and said, all right, well, I just got an email because the day after I got charged, I got an email saying, we're sorry, this item has been delayed to December the 22nd, 2025. And so I sent them that. And the response was, "We're sorry, there has been an error. Since you have already been charged, we will go ahead and ship yours out." So I reviewed that Bantha today. The review goes up Thursday. I think what happened is because of all of the tariffs and other BS that's going on right now, shipping problems, whatever else, I think some of the Banthas arrived at Pulse and some of the Banthas are delayed. And maybe some forms of payment got triggered when they came into the warehouse when they shouldn't have been. But whatever the case, I've got my Bantha. But more Pulse nonsense that we really shouldn't be having to deal with. Carlos says, watch the race, but the Skeletron card didn't get any camera time. Aw. All right. We have a call sign longbow update. Their factory partners are still working on the revision notes they sent them in the previous months. Oh, by the way, I have a correction. So I think we talked about Legends of the Hidden Force last time, and I said that they had sent a correction in June of 2024 and hadn't heard back until a month ago. That was a typo in their update. It was actually June of 2025. So it hadn't been a year and months. It had just been a couple of months. So I retract my whole rant that I followed that with. Their factory partners are still working on the revision notes they sent them in the previous months. The figures have had an issue with the legs spreading apart. The factory thought they had a fix, and it worked well on Lancer and Krasny Ninja, but it continues to be an issue on the other figures. They're working to adjust the tooling as needed for proper articulation. This is a normal part of the process, but it is taking longer than they originally anticipated. They continue to push them forward to completion and will keep us updated on the process. They're also gearing up for fall convention season. They were at Retro HorrorCon this weekend, but they will be at Jolanta at the end of September, so we'll see them there. And Grindhouse Toys will also. Oh, wait, I think I might have run together notes from last time. No, they haven't. This is their stuff. Okay. Some figures still have fit and finish issues. Their team also worked with the factory to finalize the bubble layouts for the first 6 figures. They hope to have more to share on that front soon. And the team at Broken Icon Comics is still hard at work on Call Sign Longbow issue 2. Nick Wentmore has been working on the colored pages and is using a halftone style to give things an even more retro feel. Okay, clear out the what I said about fall convention season. I think that was copied over from Grindhouse Toys. I do not believe that was part of Call Sign Longbow's update. It's a shot image from the comic book. Wreckship says, I wish I could go to Jolanta and see that booth for the Nukes line. It looks very cool. I will be speaking to the man, speaking again to the man behind the Nukes line very soon is on the Needless Things Creator Series, just a couple of weeks here. And I will mention that interview because I've spoken to him before and we've been going back and forth. So I'm not worried about that interview not happening. And I'm very excited about seeing him at Jolanta and seeing some of these figures. If you've been following the Nukes line on Instagram, there is some wild stuff in that line. Very excited about it. Finally, Operation Recall update. Now, I'm not going over everything that was shared here because it was a very, very detailed update. But in case you missed the last couple updates, Year 1, Wave 1 ships this December. Then they will ship 4 more regular waves of 4 figures to round out the Year 1 offering of 20 figures. Year 2 design work is underway so that they can roll seamlessly into Year 2 offerings in similar regular waves. Year 1, Wave 1 engineering pilots are in hand. This is your first look at the actual manufactured toys. These were poured in the proper plastic colors in the steel mold, spray ops were applied, and then they were assembled. The factory mailed them 3 copies of each figure, and they feel incredible in hand. They cannot wait for you all to open your toys this Christmas and feel what they've been working on. So what we're looking at here, these are what the figures will look like when we get them. These are actual production sample engineering pilots. This is it. This is the final product. So we're going to go through a few pictures here. If you're listening, you can find this on the Needless Things YouTube channel or check out Operation Recall socials, obviously. But these look absolutely fantastic. I'm very excited to get these figures in hand. It's been a long time coming, but I think the care that has gone into this line is well worth it. Look at that guy. Oh, great. And then year one, wave 2 engineering pilots are in hand. But these are the wave 2 prototypes that have all been approved and moved into mold cutting. So just constant work coming from the Operation Recall team, and it never ends. And with a toy line this ambitious, of course it never ends. So great stuff coming from some of our favorite independent toy companies. But now we've got to have a serious conversation. Noel, I hope you're ready to put on your financial analyst cap, because there's something serious we got to talk about. You know what? That should have a picture of Raptor on it.
Yes, it should.
You know what I want? I want one of those green visors with Raptor's picture on it. I need to make that happen. I also need to stop thinking about goofy merch I wish we could make. So there's a rumor out there, and we don't like to discuss rumor here. However, sometimes things seem inevitable. All signs point to prices on G.I. Joe Classified, Marvel Legends, and Star Wars Black Series going to $27.99 everywhere. Like, no longer just a temporary, because for a while when Amazon would actually get the product in, the price would go up a little bit and then come back down. Pulse, I think every once there were a couple of Pulse things recently that had higher prices, but Amazon or Target still had the regular prices. Obviously, Big Bad has had inflated prices for, well, really forever. They've always been charging like $1 more. But now we are faced with a $27.99 MSRP. Which potentially would drive Big Bad up to $29.99 or even $30.99, I guess. And if that happens, I said I wasn't going to pay $24.99 for these figures, but I've been doing it. But I really don't know, and I don't like it. It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I can go ahead with $27.99. I just don't think I can ascribe that value to these figures.
I think, and really it's been this way since they were $25.99. I'm a lot more selective now than I was before. And now that I have, I'd say 80% of the characters that I want in this line already, I'll probably be way more selective with $27.99 and just kind of fill in the gaps, the ones I don't have. I probably won't buy the repaints or the new versions of figures as frequently.
there won't be any more of this, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
The Major Blood I just held up.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, I wasn't crazy about them going up to $25.99. Obviously, I thought 20 was a good sweet spot for them when they first launched, and we didn't get that price for very long.
Yeah, if you remember, they went to, what was it? They went to $21.99, and it was like
$22.99. Yeah,
was it $22.99? I thought 21 and then 24.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe been 21.
But whatever. When it bumped just over 20, then that was too much. And anticipating the 25, I was like, that's way too much. Carlos says, I wouldn't call a price increase a rumor. Chris Cox back in July said price increases were coming in September, October. Well, I mean, but everybody said that because of the tariffs. Like, literally since January, across the board, everybody has been saying prices were going up on everything. And in general, people have been doing what they can to avoid it. I think until we see them happen. It's really just maybe rumor isn't the right word, but it hasn't happened yet, and there's no proof that it is for sure going to, because I think all of these retailers want to avoid it. I think the companies want to avoid it.
Oh yeah, they've been playing chicken with it for a long
Right,
time,
right.
trying to avoid having to do it.
Because
Unfortunately,
they've
that
been dealing
sometimes
with
comes.
these. They've been dealing with these the reaction to the tariffs since June.
Hmm.
But the American consumer is going to bear the brunt of these ignorant, callous decisions. That's how this works. The billions of dollars flowing in are coming from American consumers. They are not coming from foreign entities. So, yeah, $27.99 is a lot for a 6-inch action figure. It's going to be really tough. Like I said, realistically, I'm probably going to be pickier and rather than just cutting things out entirely. But, ooh, it's
Yeah,
rough.
yeah. There will be figures that come out that I'm going to have in my collection at that
Well,
price. It's
and
just it's.
the real problem though, is you have to have a macro perspective on it. We're talking specifically about GI Joe, but everything you buy
Oh
is
yeah.
going to go up in price. So it's not just about budgeting your toy collection; it's about budgeting for essential items as well,
Oh
for
yeah.
food, for toilet paper,
Oh
for
yeah.
shampoo, for deodorant. Like everything is going up. So it's not shuffling around how you're spending your toy money.
Oh yeah.
So with that, I think it's very smart. So we talked about how the Snowcat didn't seem to get quite the same kind of attention, quite the same kind of rollout as the Rattler. And I'm now wondering if they might have accelerated plans to try and get the Snowcat out before these price increases hit and people
Mm,
started stepping away from classified.
it's highly
Because
possible.
another thing that I've noticed is G.I. Joe. Last year, G.I. Joe was a superstar. It was winning all the races. It was getting its own panels. It was being featured. This year, that is not the case. GI Joe is not in the front lines of Hasbro anymore. Have you noticed
No,
that in like
and what
press
we got
releases
from
and announcements and stuff?
San Diego Comic-Con, they got that like hurried 10-minute run through that we got, and that's all we got if you were not at the convention. So
Well, and they made an announcement for New York Comic Con, and GI Joe is part of the everything else panel.
hmm
They are in no way being featured.
which is mind blowing because clearly this brand has been a success for the last few years.
But I wonder if Hasbro perceives it as not being resistant to price increases in the same way that Transformers and Star Wars might be.
Well, it certainly has probably the loudest consumer base of
Yeah, you're right.
any of the other properties that
Yeah.
Hasbro has.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Joe fans are famously I'll wait for it to go on clearance. I mean,
Hmm.
that's the more so than fighting for freedom wherever there's trouble. I'll wait for it to go on clearance is the GI Joe tagline,
That's right.
which is unfortunate. But
I've said it a bunch of times myself.
sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. Rexship says, like Noel said, just means I'll be very selective moving forward when the price increase happens. Probably will skip out on a lot of tertiary characters until a sale or until it goes on clearance. But that's where we are now. And look,
Yeah.
realistically, I don't know quite how to phrase this. We live in a society of excess. We live in a society of luxury. Think about the sheer volume of product that gets manufactured, that goes out there and just ends up at Ross, ends up at Ollie's, ends up at discount store or whatever. It is ridiculous. You know what? I even put forth a couple of years ago that I thought the $22.99 price point was that Hasbro was fully aware that that was the early adopter price point, and that they knew a percentage of their customers were just going to wait. so that the $22.99 was maximizing what they could get out of those early adopters. They look, people way smarter than me are making these plans and pinching these pennies. So we'll see what happens. And you can catch all the news right here on Audible Interlude. I can't believe Kristian's not here yet. He is clearly not having a good work day. Well, that's all the news we've got. We have squeezed that lemon dry. So it is time to move on to our favorite segment of the show, everybody's favorite segment of the show. If you are following Audible Interlude podcast on social media, every time we're doing a live stream, we put up a post called Sound Off. And it is time now for the earliest we've ever gotten to it in the history of the show.
Yeah.
It is time for Sound Off, where we go to the Audible Army for what we're going to talk about. And we've got a lot of good stuff. We got a couple that we're going to have to push down the road, and that happens sometimes. But we've got quite a few we can have some conversation about. First up, Scale Model Joe's says, part of what made the Joe line so memorable was the unique accessories that came with each figure. But Hasbro forgot that in the 90s and early aughts and just released figures with fairly random existing accessories. Design a set of original accessories for a figure from that era. So I need a little more pinpoint of which lines you're talking about, because 90s, they did. So if we're starting with the Stars and Stripes set, that was the first thing that came to mind. Noel, do you have like a different perspective on what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so I'm thinking of like when they did like the Battle Core era, like the early 90s where it was still a real American Hero.
Oh, you think he's talking about like the sprues and it's all
yeah,
just...
and you got the thing with the weapons that were on, and almost all of them were just reused. That's what I took out of this, and that's what I based my answer on, even though the specific example wasn't one that had the sprues, but it was one that I just felt that didn't have the correct accessories.
Well, the early aughts is what confused me, because those all had newly tooled accessories and weapons, which actually Ship 85 says do Spy Troops or Valor versus Venom, but those all had newly tooled accessories. They didn't have existing stuff. Tom Henry says, I think Scale Model Joe's is going into the action figure business and is looking for free labor. But this is something we could potentially look at, because Noel, I think you're probably on target with that. Is once the sprues were hitting and everybody was kind of getting packaged with a lot of the same stuff, I think this is one that we could probably revisit and pick characters from that era and try and come up with cooler accessories. But I will say this: the first thing that popped into my head, and this still would have been existing accessories, but at least it would have been correct, is I would love to see the Stars and Stripes set redone with the right figures and the right accessories.
Yeah.
That would be a fantastic set to reissue the right way. As a matter of fact, when Hasbro was attempting their O-Ring, I'm not even going to call it a relaunch because it never was, but their O-Ring anniversary tribute, that would have been awesome. Maybe 2 years from now we can get a Stars and Stripes anniversary set. It'll be the 30th anniversary of that set.
30th anniversary of the time that I walked into a Toys R Us expecting to rekindle my love for G.I. Joe and walked out disappointed, because I've said it several times. Had that been a success, like if that had been what I wanted, I would have been all in on G.I. Joe.
You'd have all that stuff.
90s. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw it and I saw those figures, it's like, this is not Stars and Stripes. No, this is not it. Yeah.
Tom Henry says, I feel like classified accessories in general leave much to be desired. Sometimes the repetition in classified bothers me. They need a bigger parts library. I'll agree with that. Nowhere Manchild says, Crossfire is a character that came out in 2001 and only had a repainted Dusty 91 weapon and nothing else. So I think that's the type of character he's asking about, getting more fresh accessories. Yeah, this is something we'll have to dig into, like yojo.com, and take a look. and see who came out with what. Like off the top of my head, this is not. This is a deeper dive.
Well, I had an example that I can throw out for this
Yeah,
because
go for it.
this is actually something I've done myself in like 1-to-1 scale, because I did a costume of the Headman several years ago, initially at the JoeCon down in Orlando, or no, it wasn't Orlando, it was the one in Chattanooga. And I always thought that the Headman's accessories did not really fit with him. He had that gigantic, like, spring-loaded weapon, and he had a couple of other things that just didn't really fit. So when I did that costume, I had a big old briefcase. I had a like Tommy gun, airsoft gun, and I brought a few little bags of treats to give out.
How
So I
dare
think
you?
that like, if he had had those accessories, just like some little bags that represented something inside, whatever he was giving to Lieutenant Falcon, and those would have been the original accessories I would have included with that figure at that time.
I'm looking at Crossfire now. I mean, at the time, that didn't bother me. He came with a black rifle. I mean, it was a cool because to me this was a new figure because I was actively collecting in 2001, and this didn't bother me at the time. It was just a guy that came with a specific rifle. But I do think he was packed in with roadblock, or excuse me, double blast. Which let's talk rather than talking about these the accessories. Let's talk about these names. Double blast. That's the best you could do when you can't use roadblock. But anyway, yeah, we'll dig deeper into
Double a
this in a future
lot.
episode.
Yeah, they use like double clutch. They had a few of
Yeah.
those.
All right. Next up, Ship85. Which Sunbow episode do you want to become the next Hasbro exclusive? Can be a single figure, deluxe figure and pet, multi-pack vehicle, etc. Perhaps it is recency bias from opening the Jada Toys mini vehicle set, but I'd like to see a smaller vehicle set with Cobra Commander and a Santa hat with the G.I. Joe trailer full of presents and a few mini Cobra vehicles that appear in the episode. We've actually talked about that exact set before as being a fun convention exclusive type thing. Noel, you got any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, the first thing that popped into my head, and I've mentioned it before, was I would like to see Roadblock and Recondo in their Hawaiian shirts from Red Rocket's Glare. Obviously, I like Super 7 is my intended target for these, but I think they could do a fun, classified figure with those guys. And you save the actual accessories like the Red Rocket diner for your O-ring figures.
And that's my note is I don't particularly want to see more Sunbow in classified. And I especially don't want weird little variants like Cobra Commander and a Santa hat. It's just not.
You don't want G.I. Joe Christmas figures like they do with Star Wars and Transformers now?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of when I put that thought together. But a character, and we've talked about it before, a character that I would be interested in seeing a classified interpretation of is Mara.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be very cool to see what the classified team did with that character. But in general, I want my Sunbow from Super 7. I don't particularly want it in classified. And again, with these price increases, I really don't want minor little variants like that.
I think if you did a Mara, would you want to do the blue skinned Mara, or would you want to do the
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, look, do two. Why not? Do the blue skin one first? Well, no, I don't know. Which one do you think more people would want? Do whichever one people don't want first.
Yeah.
And then
I think the blue
skin
one would be because that's when they first introduce her. She's, when you could also do a No Place Like Springfield set where you do her and you do the shipwreck who's got the grayish beard and he's wearing his plain clothes.
Yes.
Yeah. But again,
But
Super 7 O-ring. Let's get all these.
Yeah, do a Super 7 Reaction Plus set of that. I'm all in. I just don't particularly want it in classified, but I do think Blue Skin Mara could definitely be a cool classified figure just to see how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sneezy the Squid, our pal Gary Mitchell, who we just saw at Dragon Con. Joe Lanta, Toy Lanta, Joe Fest, Dragon Con. What's your favorite thing about each of these conventions? Joe Lanta. Well, okay, look, I'll be honest. My favorite thing is how close it is to me. It's 15 minutes from the house. Like, that's incredible. But also, Joe Lanta and Toy Lanta, I mean, they're the same convention. It's just Joe Lanta is more focused on G.I. Joe. They're awesome. They're very well organized. When you go into the vendor area, there is a sense that it's very curated. Which, by the way, Brett Barton, who runs both of those shows, we'll be talking to him before Joe Lanta at some point. He gets it. I really feel like he knows how to run a convention. Noel, do you get that sort of same sense from those shows?
Yeah, and I mean they've been through, because we've been working with them with the costume group for well over a decade, and in that time, I believe they've been under like four main organizers who have run it, and so Brett's done a really good job these last few years of keeping everything again, like I said, it's very well curated. I always feel like when I walk into that vendor hall that like things are organized well. You're going to find good quality dealers. You're not going to find a bunch of junk.
And they're like areas. Like there's a section that's like, oh, here's some stuff from the 70s. Oh, here, like he really does pay attention to how things are done. And you don't see any of those, hey, I just cleared out my attic and brought it here. You don't see any of those people in there.
Yeah. And he's been real supportive of us the last couple of years. So, we definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, closeness is great. There was a time when this was just one convention. It was the Joe
Lanta and the Great Atlanta Toy Convention.
Yep.
What a unwieldy name.
And then they decided that they wanted to branch out. So that's when it got rebranded to Toylanta. But like G.I. Joe was always a big part of this convention, and specifically 12-inch G.I. Joe is a good chunk of what drove Joe-Lanta. So they split it back out again, and Joe-Lanta is a lot smaller than Toy-Lanta because it is more narrowly focused. But like you can get like good G.I. Joe stuff from all eras, and then a few other things as well. But it is definitely most focused on G.I. Joe.
I don't think this Joe Lanta is going to be smaller than Toy Lanta because we already know Ron Rudat is going to be there. We know Larry Hama is going to be there. And there are some other guests that I am aware of that have not been announced yet. This Joe Lanta is potentially going to be one of the biggest Joe conventions since the old, what was it called? G.I. Joe fan convention, whatever it was called. I never went to any of those.
G.I. Joe convention, official collectors convention.
Oh my goodness. I just got a notification that Legion Cub has entered the studio. Welcome!
I am coming to you from the bowels of the Terror Dome in secret here. Howdy.
Well, hello.
Look, Kristian, this is what you do to us. It is not even 9 o'clock yet, and we're already to the sound offs. That is what the loss of your voice has done to this show.
Right.
Starfighter, I'm glad you mentioned this. Starfighter says the Fresh Monkey Fiction store opened, and I purchased 9 of the Naughty or Nice reindeer. It beats Big Bad Toy Stores. You can do PayPal Pay in 4 on that site. I hate the Big Bad Toy Store went away from that. Okay, so I knew that Fresh Monkey Fiction was reopening their store, but I saw I knew they were doing it, but I saw no announcements of when it happened. So I missed the reopen and some of the stuff that they had initially when it went up.
Oh, I didn't know they brought the store back.
Yeah, and actually, I still haven't gone to look.
Absolutely go on there and get the reindeer now and cancel my Big Bad Pre-Order.
Right. Fresh Monkey Fiction store, open again. Many products are limited 2 per customer. They've got a lot of older stock there, although a lot of the stuff has sold out already, like the older stock that they sort of found or whatever happened. But there's still a ton of stuff there. And it just scrolls and scrolls and scrolls. But they do have, it looks like they've still got the reindeer. They've got a lot of the Father Christmases. Oh, wow. There's a lot. Oh, wow. As soon as we're done recording, I'm getting on here and making some orders. Holy cow. A lot of the long box heroes are in stock, available right now. Madman, Tick, Grendel.
Real quick, woohoo! Tom Henry with the super chat.
Oh, Tom Henry super chat.
See, all it took was Kristian coming onto the show, and now we're getting funded.
The dollars just start rolling in. And for anybody listening or anybody watching, just know that anything that comes in through the super chat or any other means goes back into production of the show, whether it's into hosting, which, by the way, we've got to find StreamYard. We are stepping away from StreamYard. We got to find something new. So if anybody has any suggestions on a really nice, user-friendly service to stream from, hit me up. Just shoot phantomtroublemaker@gmail.com an email, or through Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. If you have suggestions, I'd love to hear them, because I was looking at Riverside and I don't know that that's as good as I thought it was. So let us know what we should be using to stream, because we got to figure something out soon. Or these live streams may be interrupted. All right. Where were we? Oh, we were in sound offs. So back to Sneezy the Squid's question. So we talked about Joe Lanta and Toy Lanta. Joe Fest. I just love Joe Fest. It still right now feels like the preeminent G.I. Joe convention to me. I would
say it definitely is.
Ed is always very good with, like, just sort of letting us do what we want to do. I feel that we are very welcome there, and they've had great guests, great companies there. It's just cool, and I to be honest, I just like being in Augusta. I like Augusta.
Yeah, and hey, you know what? We're lucky that this giant G.I. Joe convention is like 2 hours from Metro Atlanta.
Yeah.
Super easy to get to. The show itself is, I mean, it's not like the largest show I've been to, but I can still go there and for 3 days not get bored of the vendor room. Like,
yes, it occupies
I find
you.
new things. Yeah, every single time I walk through it, and I'm always finding great deals and talking to people and, meeting people there.
Well, and now they've got programming the whole time. Like, they do the workshops and they do the panels, like Seth Green being there doing the stupid monkey stuff. Like, it has evolved, and it's still just a very, very satisfying convention to go to. I love it.
Yeah.
And for as much as it has evolved, like just in the 3 years that I've gone, it is still the perfect size to hang out. Like, you will meet other G.I. Joe fans. You will meet the people that you've talked to online.
Yeah.
You don't feel like, if we hang out and chat for a while, I'm going to miss this, I'm going to miss that, or, I'm rushing to get here or there. It's a very relaxed con.
It's a good social con.
Yeah.
And it's grown so much in just like, because I went to the first one, essentially just filled the gap where the official G.I. Joe convention was no longer happening. This popped up in its place same weekend, and it really just, like, everyone migrated from one to the other, and it's great because we still have, it's almost like there's a lineage of these G.I. Joe conventions that just, like, goes from the official G.I. Joe convention to Joe Fest, and it took its place. So we all know it as the annual G.I. Joe convention that is just the must go.
And then Dragon Con, I mean, look, nothing is ever going to replace Dragon Con in my heart. It's my favorite thing I do every single year. It is massive. It is relentless. It is a party. But again, the classics track, Joe and Gary that run our the part we partake in as far as presenting, the communication from them is second to none. Because I have worked with a lot of conventions in my time, and Joe and Gary, their communication is, I have no questions. I'm good to go every single year. And that's with everything else, because they're running a track within Dragon Con that is as big as many of the conventions that we go to. Mm-hmm. Just their portion of Dragon Con, the scheduling is that involved. So to feel as heard and as looked out for as we do every year at Dragon Con is special. It's a big deal. But yeah, nothing's ever going to replace Dragon Con as far as just being just a massive, engaging party where you lose your frickin' mind for 5 days.
Yeah.
The outside world does not exist.
Yes.
During Dragon Con.
Yes.
Whatever your fandom is, you are going to find a plethora of people. You know, it's not going to be like one or two people. You are going to find a whole army that is into that. And when Dragon Con is over, you will go through shock that first time you sit down to eat breakfast and you're like, oh, there's no stormtrooper eating Egg McMuffins.
What's
like going on?
So there's like a post-con depression that I think that like most people who go, especially if you go for the duration of it, like if you pop in for one day, it's probably not going to hit you as hard. Because, you know, I used to do that back in the day. I'd pop in for like one day. But now I'm there from Wednesday through Monday. And we get together with friends on Monday night to have dinner because it just kind of helps ease off of it a little bit. Because all of us are, you know, still just kind of reeling from that. But there's also this weird phenomenon. I don't know if you guys get it, but like we left the con, we went over to grab breakfast, and some girl walks around the corner and she's wearing this outfit, and I just assumed it was like some sort of like Baywatch costume or something, because like I'm still in that mode where like I'm seeing people and thinking, what is this costume?
Right.
Yeah.
Like it takes a day or so to adjust. I was surprisingly able to go to work on Tuesday morning and not go nuts.
So actually, we've got to go back. Because Tom Henry sort of misspoke with his super chat. He needs the Legion Cub intro that we did not get at the beginning of the show. So, Kristian, if you would.
Yes. And I'm the Cobra intern that is secretly coming to you from the bowels of the Terrordrome. Codename Legion Cub.
There it is. That's what we needed. Okay.
And the bowels of the Terrordrome are not AC'd, just in case.
No. Kristian's just going to be pouring sweat. So it's time to slow things down, take our time. All right. Next up. Tom Henry. So what Cobra and Joe would sneak off together to watch K-pop Demon Hunters, which I have heard is absolutely incredible. I've not watched it yet. I will, because I'm all about a pop culture phenomenon. I just haven't watched it yet, but I do still have an answer for this. But Kristian, we're going to go to you first. Did you even get a chance to look at the sound offs today?
I did not, but I immediately have an answer.
Okay.
For this, and it's going to be Xandar and Mainframe. You would think it's Zarana,
sure,
but Zarana thinks she's too cool for K-pop.
Yeah.
That's what she's missing out on. So she sends Xandar in her place, and Mainframe don't care. He just wants to watch a cartoon.
I like it.
Yeah, Mainframe and Zarana did pop into my mind. But I said, especially after watching the episode we reviewed not too long ago, Sci-Fi would definitely be the one that's sneaking off to watch K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh, yeah, good call.
And I was like, who would be like that? Maybe unlikely, but you know what? When you think about it, you could see it. I think Road Pig would join him.
Oh, I can see that.
Noel, let me just tell you, my choices were Road Pig and Bazooka.
Okay.
Bazooka wouldn't cheat on Alpine, though.
Alpine, but here's the thing.
Bazooka would watch it with Road Pig if he and Alpine had already watched it first.
Well, no, Alpine is not interested. And it's a fracture in their relationship that Alpine will not watch Bazooka's anime with him. So Bazooka's got to sneak off with Road Pig. I like that. That was Tom Henry. That was a much better quality question than your Pokemon one from last time. Good job. I'm glad you're up in your game. James Kaiser Arts. You may have done this one. We have. With Hasbro's G.I. Joe Transformers, are there other toy properties you would like to see G.I. Joe mixed with, or perhaps characters plucked from other places and made in the classified line? Love the show. Thanks. Thank you very much, first of all, for the kind words. We appreciate it. We've talked about this tons of times, and guess what? We'll talk about it dozens more because there's no end to the conversations about what could mix with G.I. Joe. This is always a good topic. It's always something we'll be able to come up with different answers to. Noel, did you see this one, or does anything spring to mind?
Yeah, well, so I have like two answers, and both of these I think we've mentioned at some point in time before. The obvious and super easy and really very reasonable answer, considering like what's happening right now, is Mask. And we've had it happen before, but I do think that getting a few Mask characters in classified would be very cool. But I think we also talked about this when they announced the Mattel crossover. G.I. Joe and Masters of the Universe, man, give me some crossovers. You know, we've got Masters of the Universe crossed over with everything else.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some Joe crossovers.
Yeah, I mean, I think you take those Snake Men and put them in Cobra uniforms or however you want to do it. But, I mean, we came up with the whole storyline for that at one point. I still like that idea. Kristian?
So I am still sticking with my answer from the last time that I am burnt out on the toy crossovers.
That's right.
However, if the rights could be figured out, I would still be all about a G.I. Joe Inhumanoids crossover.
Yeah.
Be a cool way to get the Eco Warriors in the line. Give me some giant monsters. I'd be for that.
Mm-hmm. And that's my number one pick. And apparently, I feel like we discussed this, or maybe it was in my Brian Flynn interview at one point. I think there's an issue with nobody's quite sure who has the rights to Inhumanoids right now.
Yeah, that was with the Brian Flynn interview.
Okay. So mine, look, I just went, give me a James Bond, give me a classified James Bond, put him in the tuxedo, multiple portraits, just do each Bond portrait, make it a deluxe figure. I don't care. Include the briefcase, include all kinds of gadgets, include Gidget in G.I. Joe classified,
yes.
Make it happen. No, include
and
all
some
kinds
fling nun while we're at it. If we're going to get
a little bit of flying nun, let's go.
We'll make her a deluxe so that you get the habit.
But no, a deluxe James Bond, given the jetpack from was it From Russia with Love? Give him some various gadgets and stuff. Do all the portraits, and it's just the same tux body. Like, obviously, that's probably not going to happen in classified, especially with how picky Ion is about their licensing. But I mean, Fresh Monkey Fiction is kind of on their way to doing that anyway. So let's go. Let's get it. All right. So Todd 5719, I love you, but you wrote a novel on Instagram, and we just can't even.
Somebody out Mandalorian Jedi'd.
Yes, Mandalorian Jedi is like, whoa. We will go with kind of the meat of what Todd says here, but this was just a lot. While G.I. Joe Classified is undeniably a success, it seems to be primarily focused on collectors' sense of nostalgia. In the 80s, the miniseries were a large influence on G.I. Joe being introduced to the public at large. To bring G.I. Joe back into the mainstream, it's time for new miniseries. For a 5-episode miniseries based around a G.I. Joe or Cobra sub-team, what would the story be and what style of show? So this is one we're going to put a pin in. We're going to come back to it on a later audio episode. But I will say this, my personal taste. So Todd gave us the pitch for his series, and it's a lot. Go to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Go to the latest sound off, and you can read this. But I will say this. Todd lost me when he says, the Ghost Viper attempts to jump to safety only to be eviscerated by the rotor. That, to me, I don't want that in my G.I. Joe. I am not a make G.I. Joe gruesome guy. So... but there are a lot of good ideas in what Todd wrote. Go check it out on Instagram. We just can't get into it here. But we will, as I said, put a pin in this and come back with our concepts in a future episode. I do like this idea. Silent Interlude. The next legacy figure from Classified should be a construction worker, paving the way for Toll Booth and Hardtop. Let's go. I am all about, I actually find that more interesting potentially than some of the other legacy stuff they've done, because the accessories that could be included, the look of the character, or even if they wanted to go the route of making it like a Corps of Engineers type character. Like, something like that could be really, really cool. So I know this was kind of presented as a funny thing, but it could be very cool.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of something that's been overlooked in all these like military action figure lines and stuff. You know, we get our soldiers and we get our, you know, our support troops and whatnot. We don't get, you know, the infrastructure guys as often.
Yeah, I'd be happy to see that. Millennial G.I. Joe fan who was hanging out with us earlier. I don't know if he's still here or not. Out of the short, weird lines such as Super Joe, Extreme, Sigma 6, etc., do you have any you like? Now, we've talked about all of these on the show. And yes, there are some of those that we've got a fondness for. Kristian, you in particular, I know there are a couple, right?
It's easier to say which one of these do I like the least.
Right,
I won't
right.
even say dislike. Yeah.
I mean, I don't, to be honest, I don't dislike anything that's G.I. Joe. Extreme, I would say, is probably my least favorite flavor of G.I. Joe.
I look back at Extreme as an amazing time capsule, because Hasbro was like, what action figures look like right now? And that's what they were trending towards. And so like, they're like, we're going to do these figures that have very few points of articulation, that have exaggerated, like, over muscled bodies. Look at what they did with the Star Wars figures around the same time these were coming out.
Extreme is very much a Kenner toy line.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A 90s Kenner toy line.
And as we learned, Carlos Salinas has a good point. I can't pull up chat.
I will do it. I'm here for you.
But he says Extreme had some good characters, and that's based off of the last sound off that we did, where we were looking at some Extreme characters. That's why I say, like, I don't even want to say I dislike Extreme. The toys may not be my flavor, but I need to go back and watch the show, because it sounds like there might be some really cool concepts in there.
All Joe is good. G.I. Joe is like pizza. Even bad G.I. Joe is still pretty good. I don't know if I mean that or not, to be honest.
Well,
Rex Ship says, I can see an EMT being a legacy figure at some point. I love that idea too. That's great. I would love to have sort of almost like support for Doc and Lifeline whenever we get around to Lifeline. Like, that would be very cool.
Yeah.
I'd be more excited about that than some of the other ones.
make it a female character, make it a female EMT, so that way you can honor the legacy of G.I. Jane.
Yeah,
without making a G.I. Jane figure that'll tick off all of the rage baiters.
Road Pig John, let's talk cops figures coming from Fresh Monkey Fiction and which characters we want to see next. We already know that Fresh Monkey Fiction is doing Bulletproof. He's up on for pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store right now. I want to see Berserko, Turbo Two Tones, Checkpoint, Big Boss, and Mace. Look, I want to see them all. I mean, I don't even have a. I want to see all of them because I've wanted Cops figures that mix with G.I. Joe figures since Cops came out. So,
yeah, I'm was not a big follower of Cops. Like it somehow escaped me back in the day. But I do want a Buttons McBoom Boom.
Yeah,
Yes.
and he's probably my top pick because, as I mentioned before on the show, I had that figure and I ended up converting him into a Joker figure. But I would love to have a Buttons McBoom Boom.
Buttons McBoom Boom, Dr. Bad Vibes.
Yes.
Because floating brain in a jar always is cool.
But I mean, they were all really good toy designs, so I want all of them.
I want to get a Buttons McBoom Boom in the classifieds because then you can build your Headman off of that.
Well, you know we're going to get Headman at some point anyway.
At some point we will, yes.
Squatch 616. G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats, and now Silverhawks have had great comic book resurgence. Okay, so I have to admit something here. I am not totally keeping up with the comic book industry at large. Have Thundercats and Silverhawks recently had big comic book action?
Yes.
Okay.
So, the Silverhawks, I believe, is out now, and Thundercats, I believe, is on their second miniseries.
Okay.
I have not read either of them yet. I wasn't a huge fan of when Wildstorm did their Thundercats line. So, and I'm waiting to see the reviews come through for the Silverhawks. The art looks great. But yeah.
So, continuing, what other 80s property besides Mask, since we know it's coming, would you like to see next? And we've already talked about it. We talk about it all the time. I talk about it all the time. Inhumanoids. I want Inhumanoids back. That's my big, like, bring that back. I need it. What about you guys?
Mine is Bionic 6. Love me some Bionic 6.
Yes.
I'd love to see them do new toys. I'd love to see them do a comic line. You know, even a new series, of like a cartoon series would be great.
An update of that would be very, very cool, done right. Imagine the creators of Ben 10 doing a Bionic 6 series.
Yeah.
I think that could be very cool. Oh, White Vegeta's in here with a good one too. Spiral Zone, which we've also talked about on the show before. Yes, a remake of Spiral Zone I would love to see. My gosh, let somebody do like a Glyos line of Spiral Zone toys.
And if we're looking at comic strictly and not added toy line, although I would love this as a toy line, but I always think that this was a missed opportunity with the comics. Visionaries.
Yeah.
I think there's so much more
there's a lot of potential
do with that.
Well, it was very exciting when they incorporated Visionaries into the whole IDW thing when they were doing the Hasbro verse or whatever, and then it kind of just never went anywhere. But I love the idea of like Visionaries related to the hologram power of Mask, related to Transformers, it really did all make sense. It didn't feel forced together like so many of these mashups do. Noah Manchild says Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. So like an app rather than the interactive with the TV show.
Yeah,
you would have an app that interacts with the toys.
And with as far as television CG has come, it'll look at least better than season 1 Beast Wars. Because when you go back and watch those Captain Power, oh man, because I tried here recently. There are some on YouTube, and
I couldn't ever get into Beast Wars until it became Beast Machines. I just couldn't deal with the animation, and I know there's a whole generation that loves them. I couldn't do it.
I like Beast. I watched Beast Wars when it was actually new, when that was what CGI looked like. So I can go back and watch it now, and it does not, it doesn't give me the cringies like a lot of other things from that era do.
My understanding is that the writing is very, very good. It's just difficult only having 3 characters on screen at the same time.
Yeah, no, writing is really good. Beast Machines was ridiculous.
I loved it. That's why I loved it. Brian Fabian, Centurions and Air Raiders. Because Centurions was just good. Period. Mm-hmm. Like there was no more to it than that. It was just good. But then you have like Starcom and Air Raiders and there was another one that was that smaller scale, but like that stuff that really wasn't explored that deeply. That I feel like
Ace and the Wheeled Warriors.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Things that, although Jason the Wheeled Warriors had a pretty fleshed out cartoon to go with it.
Yeah.
True.
But there are a lot of those properties from back then that had kind of a surface level storyline. Oh, you guys, let me throw this one out. Dino Riders.
Mm-hmm. I am surprised with as huge as the dinosaur phenomenon became after Jurassic Park that we have never seen an attempt to bring it back.
So Imaginext did a whole line that was 100% Dino Riders, but was not called Dino Riders. My son had a lot of them because I'm buying Dino Riders. They were amazing. Imaginext, they're kind of bland now because it's all licensed stuff. But 10-ish years ago, they were doing so much in-house, just weird stuff. They did minifigures of adventure people. They're not sitting over here right now. They were doing wild stuff with Imaginext. And then it just went all to licensed. We're getting off on a whole tangent here. This is turning into a Needless Things episode. Sectars, I'd love a new take on those. Well, I mean, look, Nacelle Toys is reviving that brand as we speak. So keep an eye out for that. But they do need media to go with it.
And apparently the RoboForce cartoon, I got to notice it has dropped on Tubi. Haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
I haven't either.
So I would say sit tight because you'll probably see a new Sectars cartoon.
Well, there is the Nacelle verse is a thing that's happening. I don't know what form it's going to take, and I don't know how long it's going to take to get there. But that is like all those properties that they've bought up. They're doing stuff with them.
Oh yes, and Imaginext also did that. It was the Copperhead figure that is essentially Serpentor. Line.
Yes. Well, but that's a Copperhead. That's a character from DC.
Yeah, but
that's a legit character.
But the way that he looks, I had to double take. Is that a Serpentor figure? Because he looks a little different than I remember him looking in.
Right, but that's
comics.
That's an existing DC character, and that's what he looks like. So that's happened.
Way to ruin Noel's fun.
No,
Noel, your childhood is dead.
Well, that brings us to the end of Sound Off and the final segment of the show, something we call Joe and Tell, where we each have... Now, Kristian, you may be in a spot where your Joe and Tell takes a little different form tonight.
I have a Tell.
Okay, that's fine. We understand your situation's a little different. So Joe and Tell is where we each have an item or a story, in this case, to share that may be G.I. Joe or G.I. Joe adjacent, or just barely G.I. Joe adjacent. And I'll just say this, Kristian, I am so glad you made it in here for mine, because I think this is going to be tremendously. I think my Joe and Tell is going to be your favorite Joe and Tell that you've seen. We'll see. So I'm going to save mine for last. Noel, have you got your Joe and Tell ready?
I do have my Joe and Tell ready.
All right, you are up first.
So we have talked a little bit about G.I. Joe Resolute on this show. It was one of the early things we reviewed in the early days of our podcast. I think we all have opinions on it that don't always gel with the masses, but there are some good things that came out of it. But when I was at Dragon Con on Thursday, my friend Matt, who is one of my regulars at Trivia, on my Wednesday, he was like, "Hey, we missed you at Trivia last night. I had something I wanted to ask you." And I was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I'm at Dragon Con, so I missed that." But he was like, he used to work at Cartoon Network, worked there for many, many years. He also was part of the team that was developing the G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra game that came out last year as well.
Oh yeah.
So he was like, "Hey, I have some stuff I'm just trying to get rid of. I figured because you are the one person I know who knows the most about G.I. Joe, you might appreciate this. Would you want to take this off my hands? It's not gonna charge you anything." So what he gave me, we can get that there. This is a certificate of authenticity. These are actually some of the hand drawings from Resolute, because that, of course, debuted on Cartoon Network.
Right. In 3-minute chunks or however they did it.
So these are the actual ones, and I hope that these show up on camera. So we have this is Duke. You see him laying down. He's pulling the pin from his grenade.
He almost looks like he's in the Goldblum position from Jurassic Park.
Kind of does, but yes, he's got his
oh, that's cool.
The pin from the grenade with his teeth there. Very cool. We have a smaller. Oh, that's not it. This is another smaller drawing, and I believe he is hiking.
Okay.
Up a hill.
He's running up that hill.
Thank you.
Very small on this. And then we have this, which appears to be the lower half of Scarlet, or maybe it's the Baroness. But yeah. So these are cool. original artwork from G.I. Joe Resolute that were used in the production of that short. And he also gave me a Venture Brothers framed Venture Brothers poster.
Oh, nice!
Cool, the big skull logo. I've got that up in my office now. But yeah, this is very cool. From July 29th, 2020 was actually when these got into his possession. But they were from the original production of Resolute.
Very cool.
You always know whenever Noel starts a story off with, "I ran into someone and they said, 'Would you?' It's going to be like,
right.
Here's the first piece of wax that we carved the G.I. Joe out of." That is awesome.
So Sita Siren is here listening to you guys geek out, is filling the post-Dragon void. Thanks, guys. We'll just say, live long and prosper. All right, Kristian, what do you got?
Okay, so for longtime listeners of the podcast, my drive home from Dragon Con this year turned into a Joe Fest drive, because outside of Atlanta was a very bad wreck that had traffic completely stopped.
Worse luck.
Yeah, I cannot handle being in a parking lot, so I asked GPS to find me a different route. It did. It took me about an hour and a half out of my way, but in that journey, I passed 2 different ollies. So I stopped in and I managed to get the Legacy Sniper
Oh,
figure
nice.
that I really had no interest in other than that ghillie suit. So for $12, and I've been trying to work on this custom quarrel for a while, but having problems finding a matching neck peg. Lo and behold, this sniper has a matching neck peg.
Oh, that's awesome.
So for $12, I got the ghillie suit. I've already got her all pulled apart. I'm going to be doing some repainting. So hopefully here in the next few weeks, I'll be able to share my idea for my custom coral finally.
Nice.
And I had Ollie's luck, which has not happened in, well, this year, really.
The last time we had any kind of good, because every once in a while Riley and I'll hit up an Ollie's just to see what they've got. I think the last time we really found anything good was when they had the the Mattel Ghostbusters figures, not even the Hasbro ones.
They had the what was it, the scare action ones,
Oh yeah.
like the worst sculpted Ghostbuster figures.
Oh, but I love them. They're fun.
Ever exist?
They're toyetic. They're fun. They're good.
That
toys.
Is true.
They're
even as
toys.
a kid, though. No,
I don't think I've ever found anything of note at an Ollie's.
From time to time, but not often.
And this Ollie's still had Lady J's, and that just made,
oh my gosh,
that made my heart warm.
And they're still like,
for whatever reason, they wanted more for Lady J than they did the Sniper.
Yeah,
like
right. The last time I went into, they were
15.
still like $15 for Lady J. And I think they still had the Aiko figures from the movie as well, and they were still at like that prices.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
they need those need to be like $1 a piece.
Yeah, because I still see those in Ross when I go in. That's the only Joe figure I see in Ross.
This one had marked down some of the Star Wars figures just to get them out of there, because you could see where the Star Wars figures were originally $9.99. Now they're like $4.99 and $3.99.
Yeah, those archive figures. The last time I saw them in an Ollie's were down to like $4.99. Those are way nicer than Lady J.
Yeah.
All right, Kristian, are you ready?
I am.
Are you ready for what I've got? Because I think you're going to be very happy.
I'm sober right now, so.
All right. So, are you familiar with an independent toy manufacturer called Healy Made?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Well, get ready to have your mind blown, because I've got in this bag right here, this fancy Healy Made bag, Mylar bag. I have a figure. Everybody in the chat, Kristian, Noel, have you ever wanted a figure that combines the very best of Darth Vader, of Boba Fett, of Grand Moff Tarkin, and of Cobra Commander? Because I have that figure right here. This is the Healy Made Raider.
Whoa.
This is the Shadow version. This is all completely original sculpting, but you can see it incorporates all of those characters I just mentioned. Now you may be wondering, well, now wait a minute. The portrait, sure, maybe looks a little Grand Moff Tarkin. I see a little Vader, I see a little Fett, but where's the Cobra Commander come in? Well, first of all, if you recognize that blaster right there, that is a redone version of Battle Armor Cobra Commander's blaster. And this figure includes an alternate head that is hooded Cobra Commander with an aiming reticle on it. Now, there will be a full review of this figure on Wednesday right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. So this is GLiOS compatible, so all these parts are swappable. His little rocket pack here, you can swap these out. And it included additional, so you can have two that are the same, or you can have the offsets like this.
So if he's Gylos compatible, is he 5 POA or does he have elbows and knees as well?
He's 5 points of articulation, just like a Star Wars figure.
Okay.
He's got this little soft goods cape that you plug his arms into it. And it's really more almost like one of the clone troopers, like battle skirts or whatever. So this is very cool. This is $25. It's available from HealyMade.com right now. David Healy is an artist who's been making. So how I first found out about him is he does Star Wars wrestling figures.
Yes, I'm looking at those right now.
Yes, they are very expensive. I have always wanted them, but I just cannot justify the pricing. But these, $25. But Kristian, this is not even the figure that is going to blow your mind. Like, this is cool, right?
Yeah.
This is neat. Well, hang on, buddy, because I'm about to show you something that you are just not ready for. Also from Healy Made. This is the X-Raider. It is a repaint of the figure that I just showed you.
It's X-Ray Man.
It is the same figure done in the style of the Adventure People X-Ray Man.
That is so cool.
It is amazing. Everybody who's listening or watching should check out 16bit.com. Adam Paulus, who I've mentioned before, has been writing about toys for over 30 years now. He knows his stuff, and he put up a picture of this figure, and I was like, I must have this figure immediately. They have this version that has paint deco. They also have a blank version that's only $20. But the translucence is perfect. The plastic quality is excellent. This is one of the coolest action figures I own.
Healy Toys.
Healy Made.
Now,
Healy Made Toys.
Okay, I know where I'm going.
Does Healy Made Toys have any agreements with Disney? Because how are they getting away with this?
He's been making these for years, and it's I guess he's beneath their notice or whatever.
Well, apparently they did a version of that Raider figure as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive in 2020.
Well, there's a Boba Fett repaint also, but I have so many Boba Fett tribute figures that I was like, I don't need that one.
And it's not a 1-to-1 sculpt of Boba Fett.
No, not at all.
Paint something in the Boba Fett colors. That doesn't make it Boba Fett.
Right.
No,
well,
like
these Super
Cantina
7
alien,
released.
These Cantina alien wrestlers are certainly directly based on
Tom Henry. Tom Henry says snitches get stitches, Noel.
Look, man, I am all for being able to express this, but I also know that there's a fine line between what can be considered parody versus.
Well, but I think the wrestlers can clearly be considered parody. I mean, it's not like he's making figures of the Cantina aliens. He's putting their heads on like Abdullah the Butcher's body. Like it's completely. And like I said, he's been doing it since before the pandemic. So and also when a production run is that low, like they're sold out before Disney would even be aware of it. So, it's a thing. That's the independent toy market. And that's another, like I said, these figures that I just shared are $20 to $25 a piece. Those wrestler figures are like $70, I think. So there's a whole different level to those. Yeah, and actually, that's a good point. White Vegeta says, I believe if the quantities made are low enough numbers, it falls into the handcrafted category and is beneath their concern. And I think that's absolutely the case because when I first heard of these, I think it was an Akbar wrestler, and I was ready to just pay whatever it cost because I love Admiral Akbar. And like by the time I went, they were sold out. I think it's very, very low production runs on the wrestlers. So what White Vegeta is saying is probably what it falls into is that it is.
He's worked with Super 7 as well, I guess.
Yes, yeah, he's done a lot. Like he is prolific in the toy business and just kind of runs his own little side hustle. That's what all this is. But these Raider figures, I highly recommend everybody go to healymade.com, check out these Raider figures, and just order one. It's a great, unique figure to have on the shelf. And like I said, the swappable head options, they're just a lot of fun. They're cool. All right. I hate to say it, but that's all the show we've got tonight.
We got a good 40 minutes out of sound off there. So
yeah, that's true. Everybody took
I came on to the show and dragged it out. That's needed.
True. We would be done by now if Kristian had not shown up. Everybody took really good care of us on sound off. Like I said, check out Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Throw those sound offs at us when we're going to be going live. The next time we do it will be on September the 18th. We'll be putting up a sound off specifically for your thoughts about the first episode of Pyramid of Darkness. So keep an eye out for that. Shoot us a request to join the Audible Army Facebook group. You can either click the link that's in the chat, that's probably long gone now, or you can shoot us a message at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Send us your email. We'll add you to the group. And Noel, tell us a little bit about The Finest.
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming club who raises money for a wonderful charity called Canines for Warriors. If you are at Joe Lanta in less than 3 weeks from now, you'll be able to find us there. And yes, you can talk some Joe, pick up some swag, and throw some money towards some helping some dogs and some veterans.
And Kristian, where can we find that toy photography you do so well?
You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky under the name Legion Cub.
Our music is by Andy Samford of electricminnowmusic.com. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. And until September the 18th, with our live review of the first episode of Pyramid of Darkness, Yo Joe!
Oh.